Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday, so you know what that means. It's another Last of Us review day. If you did not see, they actually released the episode on Friday night because of the Super Bowl yesterday. So we were able to get a little bit of a sneak peek early. It wasn't a sneak peek, it was the whole thing. So we got to see it early. I did watch it on Saturday. And I just thought I'd keep the schedule with talking about it on Monday, because normally I watch it on Monday and I talk about it Monday. I just want to keep it Monday. It was called Endure and Survive, which if you don't know anything about The Last of Us, you're just watching the show, you never played the game. That is a big thing that Ellie says and relies on, is endure and survive. And we actually got to meet Henry and Sam officially. So like the last episode before this, we got to see them for like 2 seconds. We knew who they were. If you played the game, you know who they are. They're Henry and Sam. And so this time we actually got to spend the entire episode with them. Now, I will say I was a little disappointed. Of course, this video has spoilers, so if you didn't watch the episode yet, come back here afterwards. I was a little disappointed that they didn't keep Henry and Sam in our lives like another episode or so. I know we got to keep moving. It felt fast. And so I really wanted to have a little bit more time with them, which is how I felt about Bill as well. I wanted a little bit more time. So I was a little sad that it was over as fast as it was. Things were a little bit different than the game. They did have Sam, they made the change where Sam is deaf in the show, which I enjoyed. I love watching sign language in any type of media, and I enjoy watching it and interpreting it, and the subtitles definitely help, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of it. We didn't really get to see much of the struggles of that, though. We did see a few times where like Sam would step on glass and it was loud, and so Henry told him it was loud. That was about it. We didn't really have any issues with it, and I felt like we could have worked with that a little bit, because I think that would be a challenge to be deaf and having to listen for clickers, listen for runners, listen for gunshots. I felt like that's something that we could have done. They did have like another small scene where we did get to see Henry seeing Joel fighting the rebels. So that was interesting, and of course Sam couldn't hear it, so he's like, what's going on? And he only based his reaction on what his brother reacted. So I feel like we could have used a little bit more of that. The challenges of that in this world. We got to see our bloater. That was the biggest thing, was we got to see the bloater for the first time. I honestly have forgotten. So in the last episode, there was floors caving in a storage unit area, and the Kathleen, who's the bad person in this episode, the last 2 episodes, it's like leading the rebellion that took down Fedra. She said we'll worry about it later. We find out that she's hunting Henry because Henry sold out her brother to Fedra, and Fedra killed her brother. So that's why she wants revenge from Henry for her brother. She's very obsessed with it, to a point where it's a little overdone. I mean, the game part 2 is all about revenge, but this one just was a little ridiculous. She was killing like everybody just so she could figure out where Henry was. But it does make more sense story-wise why they are being shot by a sniper when they finally escape. Because the sniper's watching for them, and then he radios in for the rebels to come, and that's when Kathleen and all of her group come to get Henry and kill him. So that did make more sense than like just Fedra chasing. It wasn't Fedra in the game either, but just these people just keep chasing down Joel and Ellie and Sam and Henry. It made a little bit more sense why they were there, and it was kind of like Joel and Ellie were they were included in this just because they killed some of their people, but it kind of just like stumbled in on it. They kind of just like, oops, we're here too, we're in it now situation. So it made a little bit more sense. During their little fight, they do have like it wasn't a tank, but it was like an armor truck run into a building, and because Joel shoots them with the sniper gun. So we did get to see the sniper gun. That was cool. We got to see that scene where he's trying to snipe bad guys, and he eventually does infected because the truck goes into the ground and all these infected start running out. Like, it looked like World War Z when they're trying to run up each other on top of the wall. That's what it reminded me of. So for the people that were complaining that we're not getting a lot of infected, that was your episode, guys. It was very short-lived, but that was your episode. And then we got to see the bloater. The bloater came out of the ground, which is not in the game, but we'll take it. So we got to meet the bloater. We didn't get to see him very long, but he was cool. He was so cool. We get to see somebody get their head ripped off, which is something like if you've ever been killed by a bloater in the game, they like to grab you by your eye sockets and then your mouth at the same time and just like rip your head open. This guy lost his whole head, so I don't know how he just like ripped his head off like that, but he did. That was pretty cool. I did go back and watch it once or twice just because like, oh, it's like the game. So that is a little bit different because the bloater wasn't in that scene in the game, but that's fine. Henry and Sam don't last very long. Sam gets bit. Something that is different in this is Ellie finds out. So in the game, Sam does get bit during this sniper infected situation. He does get bit in the leg, but he doesn't tell anybody. So he doesn't tell Ellie, he doesn't tell his brother, he doesn't tell Joel. He's just having a conversation with Ellie, but like, why are you never scared? And Ellie says, I am. I'm scared of being left alone. And Sam says, I'm scared of turning into one of the infected. What if they're trapped inside their body? And Ellie tells him they're not. They're not anybody anymore. That's what she says in the game. She didn't say that in the show. But, so instead of like a dialogue conversation, we actually got to have like a writing back and forth on like this like little sketch pad thing. And that was neat. So they were still communicating. They were able to laugh together and have friendship together. They were able to be kids. That was good. But this time, Sam does tell Ellie that he was bit. She shows him his leg, and and this made me feel so sad for her because she said, my blood is medicine, because she thinks that she is we don't know, we never know if she's actually the cure for this virus. Spoiler, not virus, but this infection. We don't know if she would have caused the ability for a vaccine or not. We'll never find out. Unless they make some really bad changes in this show. We'll never know if this is actually a fact that she could save people. But she said, my blood is medicine. And so she cuts her hand and she puts her hand on Sam's bite. And she keeps it on there for like a second. She's like, okay, I'll stay up with you. We'll be fine. It's going to be great. We'll be okay. And he's like, okay. And I felt bad for her because she wakes up the next morning and Sam turns. And so Sam turns, she goes out in the other room screaming, and Henry and Joel fight over a gun. Henry shoots his brother, and then he shoots himself because he's saying, what did I do? What have I done? So you could see, and then when they're digging the grave, which was the first grave that we actually seen, like, of a person that has died in the series. They didn't show it in the game, but implied because they talked about their grave. So this is the first time we've seen like proper burial for anybody in this series. She left a note that says, I'm sorry. And she's very distraught. You can tell that she's doubting herself because her blood should have saved Sam and it didn't. So I felt that. I felt really bad. There was a couple other scenes, like in the beginning, Henry and Sam had this great bond, and of course, you know they're screwed from the beginning. As soon as people like get along and they're having a great bond and things are going okay, you know things aren't going to go well. And that's what happens to Henry and Sam. Like, there was a point where I did get emotional because I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen, and you guys are so sweet. You guys are so sweet, and it's just a brother trying to protect his other brother, and you're screwed. And I felt really bad. I really did feel bad. We found out the doctor actually was keeping Sam and Henry safe. He was letting them stay in his attic. So the doctor did know where they were, but the doctor died the last episode. Let's see, what else happened? I knew there was something in the back of my head and I skipped it. What was that? The tunnels. That's what it was, the tunnels. So, in the game, we go to the sewers with Henry and Sam. So at the beginning, we meet Henry and Sam. then we get attacked by the rebels, whatever we want to call them, and then we have to find a new way to get to the radio tower, which is where Sam and Henry are trying to get to, and we were trying to get that direction as well. So we end up going to the sewers, and we find some notes from Ish on a boat. Ish is someone that we never meet him in the game. He has a lot of notes throughout Henry and Sam's storyline, where he went in the sea, and he stayed on the seas as long as he could when the infection came out, and then he ended up getting losing supplies, so he had to get back on the shore. He ended up living in a sewer, and he took in people with children, and he kept them all safe in a sewer, and eventually you find out that someone left the door open and infected got in, and so basically everyone died. They either had to kill themselves or they became infected themselves. Ish got away. You keep reading letters, you find that Ish got away. He got away with 1 or 2 people, and that's pretty much where the story drops. I was hoping we would get some Ish storyline then, because Neil Druckmann, which is the original director for The Last of Us, did say that we would get to see background stories like Ish. So I was really hoping we'd see a little bit about Ish this episode. We didn't. We went to the tunnels of Kansas City instead. Instead of the sewers in Pittsburgh, we went to the tunnels, underground tunnels. And we did find out the reason why the infected were all underground is because that's where Fedra drove all the infected, was underground in these tunnels. So Henry knew a bit about the tunnels and the mapping of it, so he was able to lead them through the tunnels. We were able to avoid the infected, which is a little bit of a bummer, because in the sewers we do have like quite a few clickers in there and quite a few runners. It's when we first see stalkers, officially see stalkers, so that would have been interesting to see. So I was a little bummed when we went through tunnels. We did see evidence of Ish in there, however, because there was paintings by these kids, and they basically made like a kid kingdom thing, like castles and stuff. We did get to see that. So that implied that that world did exist, but they didn't really go into it at all. They didn't really, like, it felt like it was just like, and we're here and we're out kind of situation. They're like, oh wow, somebody used to live here, and I wonder if they survived, or where do you think they went? And of course Joel's being pessimistic. He's like, they probably all got infected. But we didn't see any of them, by the way. It was really disappointing, because I was hoping that we'd at least like see like maybe a few flashbacks of Ish, like find a letter and Ellie's like reading it, and then we get like a little clip of Ish, and then that's what I was thinking. What we were gonna do is we were gonna go into their version of the sewers, which is the tunnels. We were gonna find evidence of Ish and the people that lived with Ish. We were gonna find like a letter from Ish or something, and then we were gonna like kind of leave the main group and get to see like Ish starting out his journey. It didn't happen, so I was a little disappointed. So I'm hoping we'll get to see Ish. I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. I have like zero confidence that we're gonna get Ish now, because I don't know how else to introduce Ish. We got rid of the bad guys from Henry and Sam's area. They all died. So we've eliminated all the bad people so far. So it says in the preview we're going to go see Tommy now. We're going to get to Wyoming. We're going to get to Jackson, and we're going to meet Tommy and his wife Maria, and we're going to get a horse. And I'm hoping we get the scene where Ellie runs away, and there's going to be a lot more action scenes, and then we're going to meet Ellie, and we're going to have that conversation in the teenage girl's bedroom. That is a big iconic scene. I'm hoping we're going to get it. I feel like we're moving really fast. I know that like this was the 5th episode. There's only 9 episodes in this season, so we gotta kind of keep going. But I feel like we need to slow down a little bit. I really would hope that we could just not like sail through it like slowly, but I need a break. I need a breather. I was hoping to have another episode with Sam. Even if they killed him like the first 5 minutes, I was gonna be okay with that. It's just like I need a little bit more time. So the only thing that we have coming up that will be significant is we still have to meet David, and that's when we're at pretty much the halfway point of the game, is when we meet David. Ellie's gonna have to meet David. So we're gonna have to either do all of the college scene next week, or we're going to have to do Tommy, and then next, not this coming Sunday, but the next, episode 7 is going to have to be with David. So, I don't know, because it suggests we're going to get some Left Behind, which is the DLC from the first game. We're going to meet Riley. It suggested that. We still have Ashley Johnson to show up. David's going to have Troy Baker with him because he plays James. So we got a lot still to happen in these 4 episodes. And I feel like there's not enough time. I really do. I feel like there's not enough time. I need more time. I feel like we need more time. I don't want to feel rushed. Because it's already been confirmed that like season 2 is going to be the second game. And I feel like we're not there yet. I feel like we're not there. We're not at that point yet. So we got a lot to do in 4 episodes. So let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Remember to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I will see you later, guys. Bye!